I think it's good.
All right, that's great.
Great.
Wonderful.
Okay, Imtiaz, we're good to go.
Yes.
Awesome. Imtiaz, I'm so thrilled to have you on the podcast. And like they say, dreams always come true. And today it has come true. So I have been wanting to talk to you for a long time. And today is the D-Day. And I've been smiling since morning and very excited because I was going to talk to someone I've adored so much. And I still adore you, of course, and I'll always adore you. And enjoyed watching your movies. I recently watched your web series on Netflix, She as well. It was way too intense for me. It was stuck in my head for like 2 days after I finished it. I binge watched it, but it was stuck in my head. And anyway, and I mean, the music that you have created along with plays on a daily basis. So I could not wrap up a day without listening to some of the tracks that you guys have come up with in some of the movies that you have done. So I am super thrilled, very excited. And then the fans are very excited that you were going to come on the podcast as well. So thank you so much for, number one, making my dream come true. And number two is supporting me in this journey that I'm on right now. I'm creating it as part of, as a tribute for AR Sir. And AR Sir has also come on the podcast. And I was determined that I was not going to wrap up this journey without you. So, in fact, very recently when I was having a conversation with Sir, I did tell him that Imtiaz is going to be coming on the podcast as well. And he just smiled. So, Imtiaz, thank you so much once again. And I think my smile
Thank you.
says it all.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for being so open and generous with your comments. I hope that it's going to be worthwhile talking to me.
Of course. Yeah, 100%. And so I want to, how should I put it? I haven't really got any specific questions, Imtiaz. So this is going to be purely conversational, and I would like you to take me on a nostalgic trip down memory lane with the journey that you have had. And before we deep dive into that, I watched a number of Sir's interviews, and then in almost all those interviews that I watched, he has very specifically said that he has always enjoyed working with a bunch of people, and that bunch of people always has had your name. And so I have always been intrigued to know what was it like to meet him for the first time ever. I'm sure there must be some memories attached to it.
Oh, yes. It's crystal clear in my mind. It was after the release of Socha Na Tha.
Yeah.
A couple of years after that, and before the release of Jab We Met. Jab We Met was released in 2005. So I must be meeting him in 2004 then. No, sorry. 2007 Jab We Met was released. So maybe 2006 or 2005 or something like that. I must have met him. And that was because I was going to make Rockstar at that time. Rockstar did not get made for many years after that as well. But I did end up meeting him. And the reason I could get to meet him was because UTV at that point of time was going to produce Rockstar, and he had just finished working. Rahman sir had just finished working for Rang De Basanti.
Right.
You remember? Yeah. So after that, I was hauled up and taken to Chennai. And in Chennai at the studio, the older one, if you've been there, and there I went in and I sat, and it looked like it's the inside of a tent. It looked a bit like that room where I was in this office, because there was some, cloth hanging, and to be in the space of AR Rahman was as exciting for me as it would be for any Rahman star fan, as it would be for you or anybody who has heard Rahman's music. I'm of course older than you, but I was still young when I heard his music for the first time, and so was he actually while he was making it. But he was like a daunting name, and he was the biggest name in the film industry even at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting, and then he came, and he just sat in the chair and just smiled and just nodded, and then I was while I was being introduced to him, and then he said, "Film Rockstar, Rockstar." He said. I said, "Yeah, it's a working title. I might change it." Why? It's good. It's about rock music. I said, more than that, it's about, the attitude of this guy. So he said, "Oh, okay. He's a singer." So I said, "Yeah, he's a singer." So he said, "Okay, so I don't distinctly remember what he said specifically before this, but at this point of time, he said, "Okay, so tell me about the film." And I was sitting in the chair opposite him, and I said, I started that there's this guy in Delhi and he lives there. And then I stopped. And I took a moment. And then I said, there is a Persian verse. There is a verse, and it says, "Kaga sabtan khaiyo, chum chum khaiyo mas, do naina mat khaiyo, mohe piya milan ki aas." And he was just looking at me, and he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "It's like in the Persian community, they used to throw the body for the birds to eat them after the person died, and so here is a lover saying, 'Eat my flesh.'" He's calling the bird saying, "Eat my flesh, eat every part of my body, pick every portion of flesh away, but don't eat my eyes yet because I'm still waiting for my beloved."
Right.
And the moment I said this, there was no gesture from him, but I knew that he's going to do the film. That reached out to me. And when I went to meet him, I was like, he'll never do a film for this rookie newcomer. I was nobody. And so I told him the story anyway, and then he said he'll do it. And instantly he started working. However, the film didn't happen. Sorry, I took time because I also kind of took this opportunity to go back into that.
It's great.
Memory.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. And this is the kind of conversation that I actually want to hear. So I've got all the time to hear. I mean, I could spend years just wanting to hear stories like this, because these are going to be cherished memories, Imtiaz. So this is something that myself and the fans and the generations to come will go back and watch it, and it'll bring a smile on their faces when they have watched Rockstar or any of your other movies, and then they watch this podcast. They'll be able to relate. So that's the memory that I'm trying to create. So
that's great. That's great service. I'm sure a lot of people like myself would be interested in things like this, especially with Rahman sir.
Thank you. And so he accepted to do the movie, and then what exactly was he? Where did it start in terms of which song was the first one? Let me put it that way.
So what he was doing is that he was in touch with me directly and not through the producers.
Understand.
And then he was just being in touch with me. There are a few times he asked me to come, and then I just went without informing anybody anyway, just on my own money. I don't know how it kind of transpired like that, but it was happening like that. Anyhow, so he called me to the studio one time at night. It was the second visit. And he said, "I have something for you to hear." He played it. And it was just, it was like the Himalayan range of music, like a huge, long piece. And it was just, it's like mind blowing. I didn't know how to react to it. And he said, "Do you like it?" And I said, "Yeah, but you know, it is like, it is your music." So he said, "No, no, I am a music director. I'll do my job. You are a director. You have to do your job. If you have," and he was not saying it in terms of trying to be modest or trying. He was just like how he never lies. Rahman
Correct.
never lies. He
Yes.
says, he doesn't say, but he. So he said, "You have to do your work for me to be able to do my work."
Correct.
And I was corrected. I was not like, "Arey wah, how humble is he?" No, no, no. I was corrected that, "Oh yeah, he's right." No? Anyhow, that track couldn't be in the film. We worked, we met quite a few times. However, we did not really go ahead and do that. So that got abandoned. Then I was going to make Jab We Met. So I called him, and then he said, I said, "I'm doing this film, sir." So he said, "Okay, what about Rockstar?" Because 2 years had passed or something. And I said, "Yeah, it's not happening right now, but we'll make it someday." He said, "Okay, okay." So I said, "Okay, so when can I come and meet you?" Blah, blah, blah. Never happened. He just disappeared. And then I was like, "Oh, he's disappeared." So then I was then making, I made Love Aajkal. Actually, I reached out to him. I just took a chance that, what if he is there? And same thing. When are you making Rockstar?
Love it.
So I was like, so then when I was going to make Rockstar finally in 2010 or something, I must have started
11.
signing up for it or working.
Yeah.
11 it released.
Yeah, correct.
So sometime in 2010, I must have messaged him about Rockstar, and then he was on, and he said, yeah, I told you I'll do it. But it was 5 years back. So, and then we started it. The first track that he made was the Phir chala.
Wow.
We met several times, and he and I used to speak. I used to try to get a glimpse. I don't know what he would acquire from our conversations or from me, but he said, okay. And then one day he sent me a track, which was exactly Phir chala from the right, like how it is right now, exactly same length, everything. And all of those words that are there, those words were not there. There was his humming and, gibberish. He sang in gibberish. And he sent it to me. And that was the first track that he ever made for my film. And today I have done 3 films with him. Years have passed. It's like 2021 now, 10 years.
10 years.
It's going to be 10 years. So it's going to be more than 10 years since he sent me that track. The only track of Rahman and me that I listen to now is that original scratch that he sent me of Phir se Chala.
Amazing.
And in fact, I think it is something that I have on my desktop, and I listen to it anytime, whenever I feel like. It's the only track. I don't enjoy the music of my films. After once they've released, I can't hear them at all anymore. But this is the only track that I hear.
Is that right? Wow, really? Why is that so?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that is magical, but why wouldn't you listen to the other tracks? Is it because I'm just trying to figure out why?
I don't know. Maybe, one exhausts himself during the making of it, and you give it all. And I really enjoy the process of music being made for films. I really enjoy shooting music in films.
Yeah.
And I hope and pray that never comes a day when music goes away from Indian cinema. And especially when Rahman is making the music, I enjoy it even more. Of course, everybody does. I get very intensely involved. I think when the film, however, gets over and things are out. After that, I find myself not being able to listen to my songs, and even if they, sometimes it's fine. We are tracking how many of your songs are playing on the radio, etc. Things like that. It's fine. It's a gratifying feeling that people are listening to our songs. But personally, to put it on, never. It's just like too much. You because you remember things about the making of it, and you're probably still involved in the process of, is it good? Should I have done this? It's too much work to listen to your own songs.
Is that because you get picky about, I probably could have...
perhaps, or there are some songs that just make you feel fatigued. I feel I feel angry when I hear this one particular song from Rockstar, and that is Aur Ho.
Okay.
One day I was driving and this song was playing, and somebody was sitting with me, and I was saying like, put this off, otherwise I will ram the car into the wall.
Okay.
Because you get so passionately attached, and it kind of exhausts you, and you start like hating it.
Right. Oh wow.
Strange. Yeah. I've never heard this before, but this happens.
Amazing. And what should I be doing to hear that version of Phir Se Ud Chala track?
Please, as a community of ARR fans, request him to release it. I have it. If it were mine, I would have released it a long time back. Just as is, request him.
Yeah. I can already tell he's not going to say yes for that.
No, because you never know. You can't know. You can't think no before yes. You can't think no before yes. You should want it. If you want it, it'll happen.
Okay. I'll definitely keep you posted on that one. And how did you square on Mohit as the voice for Jordan? And was that, what I'm wanting to know is, was that instinctive that, okay, this guy's voice is going to be the voice, or was it on a trial and error basis?
It was, it came from Rahman sir.
Right.
And he just said once, and we were like, wow. Because I didn't have the gut, I didn't have the courage or the confidence really to say Mohit, although Mohit was a friend before this film started. And I had done Duriya with him, and I really liked how he had sung Duriya.
Yeah.
And we were friends anyway. But I didn't know that Rahman sir will even consider him worthy to, use him. And I was not going to suggest who the singer should be if Rahman is in the room, right? So I was like, you say. And he said, what about Mohit Chauhan? And I was totally floored by that, because we were kind of in a situation where we had to have only one singer singing all songs, because it was the story of a musician, of a singer, for the first time in my life at least. So Mohit Chauhan, that's how it happened. And we just stuck, and it just worked out. And I think Mohit has contributed immensely to this album and to this character of Jordan.
Of course. And it's been so magical. And then what a choice, and a timeless classic, which we as fans are enjoying on a daily basis. I'm re-emphasizing this part because as part of this, my I Love ARR podcast journey, all the fans connected with me, Sir's fans, of course, and I Love ARR community evolved. There hasn't been a day we haven't spoken about Rockstar songs, Highway, or even Tamasha. But Rockstar, almost every day, someone plays Kun Faya Kun, and then a discussion will start. So maybe on that note, Kun Faya Kun. This is a track which is it's like a prayer for me. Like the moment I'm talking about it itself, I'm having goosebumps here. That's the kind of impact that particular track has had on me and millions of other fans. So I would like to get your thoughts on where did it all start and what was the briefing you gave to Sir to come up with a magical track like this?
So by this time, we had made a few songs for Rockstar, and we'd spent a lot of time with each other. And so I think Rahman sir had an idea about where the film is going. Any case, I don't know how he plucks his insights from conversations or meetings. That's really mind blowing, actually. How, when it so happens is that, like, when he made the first track for Rockstar, it was almost as though the feeling of my film that I've always carried in my heart, that in music, in sound, it was really that. And I was like looking at this man, what did I tell him that he got this, because even I did not kind of hear it, and he just produced, and it was like, oh, my film is on tape, it's like that. So let me tell you one thing for all your fans to know. And that is that, usually when you meet somebody that you're really fascinated about, over a period of time, it wears off. Right? He becomes human, he becomes normal. This man, AR Rahman, is the only person perhaps I've met that I was really fascinated about when I started the journey. 10 years later, I'm even more fascinated about him. Now I'm even more mystified by him, that how, what? And he is so open to me, honestly. There is nothing hidden. But still, so yeah. So Kun Faya Kun, I don't remember what our discussions were. But there was definitely going to be this, that he goes to the Dargah, the character, Janardhan, and he just goes there and he just stays, he just doesn't leave, and he just hangs. And I've seen a lot of people do that at the Dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia. And and then, because I also know that Qawwals, this group of Qawwals, they stay inside. So there is, so they do Qawwali, and then maybe because Jordan is an instinctive musician, he would have joined in. So he plays with them, and something happens in terms of growth to him to have been there and played with these guys, and then one day he leaves, like that. So it was like, it's a Qawwali kind of a song. So we used to call it Qawwali. Rahman sir used to call it song while we were making it. And so then we were also calling it song. And then we were talking about what is it that it should be. And then Irshad suggested Kun Faya Kun. And Rahman sir was alerted. He said it's from the holy book, And he got very excited, I could tell. But he was also very alerted. He said, oh, will people mind if we do this? Like, will they say, why are you using something from a holy book in a song? And he said, okay, let me ask some people, who would know. And then he got around, asked them, did his loop, because he always doesn't want anyone to be hurt by music. Music is the last thing. Should heal, not hurt. So he then made his rounds of inquiries and then came back and he said, we can make it. We should make it. And then we went around making it. And then there was a lot of discussion because I was like, what should it be? So Kun Faya Kun, Kun Faya Kun, Kun Faya Kun. And then he was just singing that. And then what he did is that he sent me. This is how regularly how he would do for Rockstar. He sent me a track. The track was some 12-15 minutes long. Just an improvisation, again, like the one I told you with gibberish, but singing Kun Faya Kun, but other things are gibberish and it's on a track. Like it's a, it's on a pattern. And he just sent it and said, well, see what you like. So I told him that this is, then I listened to it several times. This track used to come like at any time, Rahman sir, when you're working 3 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock, 10 a.m., anytime a track used to come. And then whatever I was doing, I would suspend. I remember I was in the car going to town in Bombay and I got this track and then I just started playing it. And again and again and again and trying to get it. And then I messaged him immediately. So then he said, Achha, okay, fine. So then he didn't respond for a long time. Later, months later, I think a month later or so, he sent me 3 other tracks. And this was just on a harmonium. This was not even on a pulse or anything. It was on a harmonium with some other people singing. And 3 tracks of 10 or 12 minutes each. And then he said, oh, I think this is a better vibe. So I said, okay. And so he said, see what you like in it. And you tell me, I'll put all of that together and we'll have this song.
Right.
So then, and I was like, the responsibility of choosing what I thought is good, or, that was always left to me in Rockstar. It was not something that made me happy because I felt that I understood what he was trying to do. He was trying to get the film in, But I thought that it's, I have to choose the right portions, But I did it. Then I was like, he put a software on my computer also that why don't you just edit and send me and I will just make the song on that. And I was like, I tried it. My computer crashed a few times. I'm saying, and I said, sir, I'm writing. I'm also shooting. And I take a lot of time. I'm not adept at this Adobe that you've put. So he said, oh, okay. So then he sent an engineer. And so she used to be in Delhi while I was shooting. And we used to in between, Srinidhi. So, and we used to be editing in the trailer, in the trailer van while in between shoot. And, it was a crazy, interesting and an extremely exuberant time for me. So then, but there was also a portion from the previous track that he'd sent. It was a different tempo, it was a different pulse, but the previous track, okay? So then I said, but sir, this is also good, I would hate to lose this, And he said, no problem, we'll just put it together, I'll put it here. And then, so then he took whatever ideas I had and then he arranged, organized, and then made a track composite of all of that in the right pulse, right beat, right note and everything. The portion that I wanted from the other track, from the previous track, is what Mohit sings.
I was actually going to ask you about that part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because that's like a different thing and that is how Jordan would come into the song.
Beautiful. Yeah, this particular track, it's so amazing and it's like a prayer.
And the rest of it is that this track then, after it was made, then I took it and it inspired me to shoot what I did also.
Right.
And it was...
And what about for example, in this particular track again, Kun Faya Kun, Sir has sung, Javed Ali has sung, and Mohit also comes into the mix. So, was it your choice based on what you were presented that you wanted to retain Sir's voice part as well in it? Plus, where did the input of having Javed Ali's part come in? Was it yours or Sir already had that?
No, so Mohit was clear, and then he was he would have Javed be there, and he had already sung because being the music director, he often had sung or improvised or things like that, So often I want to keep that his improvisations because there's a certain value that it brings, a certain vibration to the song, a certain width or a magnificence it brings, and because he has he hits those notes or those feelings. So there were portions that, and there's a certain in his voice, if you hear Kun Faya Kun again, you know what I mean. It's like that, Ya Nizamuddin, there is a there's a feeling to that. You don't want to lose that. He also is aware of it. So I feel that he hears it objectively, and then he was like, yeah, so we'll keep this. But Javed, it was his choice. He brought Javed in because anyway, it was a Qawwali feel, right? So there would be multiple voices. So both two people singing is good. And
right. And something that I wanted to ask you is, usually when you set out for shooting, you have, look, I could be wrong in the terms. You would have something called a shooting track or something that you would go and shoot
mix,
with. Shoot mix, sorry, yes. And obviously that's going to be different from what a fully produced mix or a track is going to be later. So
always.
Right. With how should I say, with what I'm trying to know is the period that you've spent working with him while still being in the Rockstar journey. Did you actually figure out what your fully produced track was already going to be, or did it always come as a surprise to you when you heard it, because it was going to be different from the shoot mix that you had before?
Yeah. So everything that is metered in terms of the length, the basic pattern, the basic lyric, etc., all of that obviously cannot be changed later after the shoot, because once you shoot it to a certain tempo, to a certain lip sync, then you can't change it, right? So what changes is the internal composition or the program of the song, or the production comes in, sounds become different and all of that. No, it's always been a surprise. But since I was always there, in as much as I could be in the studio while that process was happening, I could see Rahman sir bringing in those different things that we had, or even he had not predicted he will.
Understand. Right. And since you've been in the studio, have you actually seen a track come alive right from the composition stage? And has he composed right in front of you? And then it has...
So, he always has something, some idea.
Right.
So even before he has the idea, there is conversation. And the conversation is about words. And he always says, okay, so what will be the word? What will be the phrases? He likes to have something written so that he can kind of work with that. And he has, the sound of the word or what it does, that makes a lot of difference to him. And things that I can't understand, but he has a vision to words, to sounds of words, So he would say, this is fine, this is not good. What does this mean? Another thing is that he doesn't know Hindi as well as I do. So, so he would rely upon me and Irshad for that what does this mean? And he was very aware that we get the lyrics right. Because I think he has suffered some bad lyrics in Hindi in his initial period.
Right.
And not that it stopped the popularity of his songs, but he obviously wanted the lyrics to be good also. However, it would... so that's how it starts. I think his process of music begins there. When he's just thinking about the sound of the words. And from there, then he usually comes back with something. And then we work on it again and again. And then he takes some time to himself for every song. And that time need not be a long time, but there is some alone work that he always does. However, the other thing about Rahman sir is that there is no particular procedure in which he works.
Yeah.
The only things that I think are unique about him, since I've worked with other music directors also, is that in case of Rahman sir, when he's working, there is no safety net. He does not play safe. So if he is playing a certain note or a certain tune in a certain instrument, if it does not work, the song will not work.
Right.
It's not as though there is also the padding of other elements to save it if it doesn't work.
Understand.
There is a bareness to his process of music making, which you can hear in his songs as well. There's nothing extra.
Yeah.
There is not as though you make a mesh of music anyway, and it's like all that is there, and then you play something. It's never that. So it's like really a juggler or an acrobat performing in a circus without a net.
Nice.
That's the feeling you always get while working with Rahman sir. You feel very unsafe. There have, like, much as I respect Rahman sir, in all my films, I've come to a moment where I feel that ye to duba dega. This song is finished. He doesn't know what he's doing. Because this is not going to be, like, I don't know why the hell he's even doing it. Like, this is not going to work. Right. I always come to that. Now I know it. So, but it still like tells me that this is not going to work. This is the first Rahman song that will come out being bad. You get the feeling. He seems to be doing nothing also. He's like, he's also as unsure. So he doesn't inspire any confidence while working. He inspires no confidence. You never feel that, Rahman sir is there, so he will, he will make it fine because, he's there, Rahman. He never. You feel responsible. I feel responsible that he's going to really mess it up. I have to do something. That kind of feeling he inspires. That's the greatness of him, that after some time, you forget all his greatness while you're with him.
Yeah.
You still do, but he doesn't, I feel powerful people don't take away your power. I think somehow, in some way, make you feel powerful when you are with them. I think that's the real power of anybody.
Amazing.
And that he has.
So good. And are you usually the person who accepts or gets attached to the first tune that you receive, or it goes through, is that an iterative process?
Well, I don't think, it depends on what catches me. And and it's not really like me, because Rahman sir, he is also extremely suspicious about what he is doing. So it's like, he's very nervous. Like he's not sure. I have to convince him if a song is good. Like if he plays something and gives to me, there are so many times he says, "This is not good. I'll make something."
Right.
And then and like it happened in that song, the Tamasha song. Pal bhar thehr jao, that song, which became very famous.
Yeah.
Tum saath ho.
Oh yeah, of course.
Agar tum saath ho.
Yeah.
Agar tum saath. So that song. So there was another song before that, which we made, and that we shot on, by the way, which Deepika really loved and still loves. And whenever there is a conversation about it, if you were to ask her, she'd say that they made a mistake. That song they used to shoot with, it was a better song. It would have been a bigger hit. People would have loved it more. And Deepika had also come one day because it was her secret desire to meet Rahman sir and to see how he works one day. So I thought I had promised I'll take her if she works with me on a Rahman film. So I took her one time to Chennai.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that song, it changed so many times. And I was like, you stay, no, this song is good. And he's convincing me that it's not good. And and I was like, well, if there's something better, more suited that comes, I'll definitely, go for it. But, it'll have to outdo this one.
Yeah.
So finally, this song happened, And again, his improvisation on it, the track with his voice of this song, that is something you should listen to.
Oh my God.
And like what I have is a reservoir of various versions of various songs. Many of them have not even been used. Rahman sir sometimes asks me that, what do you have? You have some compositions of mine, let me hear. And I keep joking with him, saying that I've got so much of your music that you don't even know about, that I'll become a music director now, and 3 films I don't need a music director.
Imtiaz, can you please invite me home for dinner?
Sure. And in fact, where in Australia are you?
Melbourne.
Okay, so I have an invite for the last 2 years, and it's because of lockdown that I haven't been able to come. But there's a film festival that the Indian...
the Melbourne International Film Festival?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know Meetu?
Of course. I don't know her well, but she's part of the Mind-Blowing Films.
Mind-Blowing Films. So Meetu is a friend of mine, and she is also organizing this. So she had invited me, but because of lockdown, we couldn't come. Me and some other film directors to come and even work and do workshops in Melbourne. Yeah. So when I do land up, then I'll get my laptop and we can listen to some of the tracks.
Perfect. And I'll take you out for dinners in some of the coolest places. And then I'll also take you for a ride in the car which has got I Love ARR on the number plate. So
nice.
And I'll definitely do this in return.
Good.
And also the reason why I asked you about your gut feeling about when you receive a track is like, in what aspects do you think? Like, for example, you receive a track, and then do you have to think from a visual perspective, number one? And second thing is, or are you going to go with what your gut says at that point in time for that track, and you just connect the dots and you feel, okay, this is it? That's something that I would love to know as well, if that's okay.
So I feel that if it matches the feeling of the situation in the film, at that point of time, that feeling, if the song matches it,
right,
and of course it has to also be nice, like somehow you like something. So if it matches it, usually that's the one that, and it go, you feel instinct. There's no technique to this. I don't think of anything at all. And it's just like, this is it. It's nice. It's matching. It's right.
Understand. Right. And which has been the track which has been absolutely challenging to crack in Rockstar alone?
Aur Ho.
Right. And why is that?
It just took the longest time. I don't know. Maybe it was just very intense, and I think the feelings of the characters were also very intense at that point of time. And it took a long time to do it. I think Tum Ho is a song that started and finished in between while we were still making Aur Ho. Aur Ho took a long time. So it just, it was somehow very difficult to crack. Even the lyrics were difficult to crack.
Right. And when Sir had come on the podcast, he mentioned about you as well. And he mentioned about Rockstar in it. And he also very specifically mentioned about the food in Kashmir. And so he absolutely enjoyed that, because when such
Yeah.
podcast releases, I'll do send the link to you. Please do watch it. You'll smile, especially at that part. I'll give you the timestamp as well. And then he absolutely loved the food in Kashmir. And so, do you have any memories that you can share?
Yeah. So my friend Khawar, who's also my relative,
Yeah.
lives in Kashmir, and he was with us. In fact, uh, we were dargah hopping, I think.
Right.
I wanted to show. Rahman sir said, "I want to see Kashmir. He'd never been," and I said, "I'll be shooting there, and before or after, I'll go, and then we'll
Yeah.
go." And then he came, and so then we also recorded some music there. We got some good singers.
Yeah.
He set up studio in the lobby of a hotel of in this Dar es Salaam
Wow.
hotel in Srinagar. Srinidhi was there as well to help, and I think she'd also gone because there was an idea that they'd be recording. Yeah, so Rahman sir was wearing a regular t-shirt and actually was fixing wires and cables behind the table where he had kept the equipment when some of these girls who were going to sing chorus, some of these women that was going to sing chorus came in. And they could not believe that this is AR Rahman.
Right.
I was not even introducing him actually, because I thought AR Rahman, they will not be able to digest that this is AR Rahman. But then they said Kone and all that. So then, I told him that this is AR Rahman. And they were like, "Ye Rahman hai." So, and they were like, they thought I was joking or pulling their leg or just bragging. They couldn't believe till the end of the recording. Their voices are on the album now. Maybe now they believe wherever in their homes in Kashmir that it was their Rahman. Because through the recording, and Rahman sir was like, yeah, I'm not done. And somebody else's name, somehow he had some other name for this recording, and they thought it was him or something. And he was like, yeah, I'm him. And so they couldn't believe. So yeah, we recorded. So Rahman sir, and then we went to various places, and then lots of things happened actually. When we were driving back from Pahalgam to Srinagar, we had to go to Khawar's house, and I was driving, and Rahman sir was sitting next to me in Khawar's car, and Khawar was behind. Right. And then we were going to his house for dinner, and then we would go back to the hotel and work.
Yeah.
And while I was driving, this is the time when he came up with this thing, when will the bird come home? And that became, and we called Irshad from the drive, and then Irshad wrote Nadan Parinde.
Wow.
Gharaja. Yeah. Then we proceeded to Khawar's house in Srinagar, is when he ate the food.
Right.
Sitting on the floor. Rahman sir loves rice anyway. And then the rice and different things that they had made, and Rahman sir was like, and they also feed with a lot of love, Kashmiri. So much love. And there was this grandmother of Khawar, a lady I love and respect a lot anyway. So Ammi was like, apne haaths, like feeding with their hands like a mother or a grandmother does. And like Rahman sir, like kissing him on the forehead and pulling his cheek and all that. And Rahman sir is like really embarrassed. He's not a man with great social skills as far as all of this is. Like really shy, but the food, and he really enjoyed. So that was the only time that I've seen. When I got up, everyone left the room. We had to go wash our hands. It was cold and like, and then when I got up to go to wash hands, I saw that Rahman sir is not coming, and he kind of just took a moment to make sure everybody left the room before. And then I remember him saying, giving me his hand and saying, lift me. He couldn't get up on his own. He had eaten so much. I lifted him. So and then he said, I'm going to have this person come over to Chennai and eat, and said, yeah, but it's great. It's better if it is cold. He said, no, I'll put the air conditioning on, and I want all my students to have this, and then he had got that vase up to Chennai, and then everyone ate that food. So
wow.
Kashmiri food is a thrill for all people. Even vegetarian parts of the Kashmiri food are very good, contrary to popular belief. But Rahman sir really loved the experience of going to Kashmir and the food especially.
Right. And also the Kashmir trip, was it to crack a specific sound that he was looking for?
No, it was just to go to Kashmir.
Right, just to visit. Nice. He has obviously loved the food so much that he mentioned about it in his own podcast. So
yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad.
And Highway, another very, very favorite album of mine. Pataka Guddi, the first track. Getting Nooran sisters on board and getting them to sing. What was it like in terms of the memories of recording that song? And it's that particular track was in an infinite loop when it released, I remember, and I still go and listen to it as well. And so just would love to know any memories attached to that song.
So again, Rahman sir had sent a track which was very long, and that had everything. It had Pataka Guddi, all versions, the male, female, all of the improv was there.
Understand.
All right. So Pataka Guddi, the track that came was 21 minutes. And it had all the improvisations in gibberish, which you can hear in the female version of Pataka Guddi, as well as the male version, as well as the last song of the film Highway, which Rahman sir had sung, Mahive. Yeah. That was also there, was in the same improvisation. It was in one track, all of this.
Right.
And later he cut it and made another song out of it. And Nooran sisters was then, like, I think Rahman sir, I don't remember, he must have actually suggested them. And I don't remember whether I did or he did, but when they came, incidentally, when they came to Rahman sir's studio in Chennai, in Mumbai to record, Rahman sir was abroad. So I was in the studio, but they had been given instructions to what to do, and they were like, Rahman sir was online and through the night, and these girls came very, very tired. In fact, Jyoti was falling asleep on the mic. I remember. Yeah, and then Sultana was nudging her at times, and when Jyoti like that, a bit like instinctive and differently wired, I think. So young girls, and we're like, are they going to sing? But then they started singing in a big voice. And they sing, like, I've never seen two singers singing on the same mic. They always sing on the same mic while recording.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that was an experience. I remember that, they were just in that studio room and they were singing and singing and singing, and we were taking many takes, and I was, in the recording space, and they were in the singing space. Yeah. So nice. That, and then the song is very beautifully written by Irshad also. And I think a lot of people love this song for sure. But I still think it is more precious than people think it is. I think this song has more potential than has already been attributed to it. Right. It's a really nice song because it's not taking itself very seriously either.
For sure.
And so that was fun.
And the male version of it, and you managed to convince her and featured him.
that was tough. And he was like, I realized his throat is quite large, so he was always a bit like choked with his clothes. And then and he confessed to me that, and then I got Aki to actually make stuff that was okay. And he said that up till now I was always choking in stuff because I used to close this, and my throat is maybe a little larger than they expect it to be in all interviews or shoots before that. Then later, I think Saira Bhabi started doing his clothes for some time at least, and then he's a bit like comfortable. So shooting with him was another experience. Interesting.
Right. And was he comfortable though, like at the sets?
No, he's not he struggles to become comfortable.
Right.
He doesn't want to take time. He struggles to become comfortable in front of in that space. He's not obviously now I think he's much more comfortable because he's done a host of things, been on camera a lot and been on stage so much. His exposure has really changed in the last 10 years, if you notice. He's done too many international shows, etc. So I think he would be a bit more comfortable or become comfortable easier, but he would struggle to be comfortable. And then, and then, when he was, then he just took those portions.
And what's that one memory that stands out for you in Highway from a music session perspective or any of the songs perspective? One memory that stands out for you?
We did a lot of work off Highway in Bombay, in the Bombay studio. And the one thing that I remember is that we were recording a song. I'm trying to remember which song we were recording. Rahman sir was there and I was there. And while recording this song, I think it was with Sunidhi. The song with Sunidhi. So I was in the studio. Sunidhi was singing. I was there was I think Srinidhi must have been recording. I was sitting behind. Rahman sir was there, but he was not in this room. And this is what I remember. He was always sitting in the corridor outside and he was working on the computer. And he was passionately doing something. And I used to come out and he was like, all good. She's fine. She's singing. She wants something. And I don't know, she's fine. I used to ask Sunidhi. Sunidhi is a friend. So she said, no, it's fine. I think I know what I'm doing for now, and then he'll hear. He said, yeah, I'll hear. But he remained there. Then I realized later what he was doing is he was editing Mahive.
Right.
And we didn't know what to do with that song because we thought, like Rahman sir had decided that in Pataka, Guddi, there will be only that portion. But I really loved this portion which was being truncated and thrown away. Later, I realized he's edited Mahive on his laptop. And he was going to make this song as well. So he knew that I love it. So so he just somehow passionately got attached to it suddenly. So while being in the studio, he was not in the recording, and he was sitting outside and he was doing this and keeping in touch. Then later he came, he heard the song and then all of that.
Right.
We were,
amazing.
That was Tu Kuja, Man Kuja.
Yeah.
We were recording. And at the same time, he was just, he just got this signal that he needs to be doing this my way.
So good. And so I want to touch on another very cool album that I personally love, Tamasha. And I want to jump into one of the tracks specifically, um, because of the fact that every time this track plays, tears start rolling down my eyes, and I couldn't really tell you why. And that is Tu Koi Aur Hai. And I don't know what it does to me, Imtiaz. So, what was what happened during the composing of this, and was like what was the intent, and then how did it all come about? Because this particular track does something to me, and I've checked with many other fans as well, and it happens to them as well. So I couldn't really tell you why, but tears start rolling down my eyes every time, every single time I hear this track.
Yeah. This song is the heart of the film Tamasha. Tu Koi Aur Hai.
Mm.
That's what the whole film is about. And I think that's the special song of the film, for the film.
Yeah.
I think I also attached to it the most
Mm.
in Tamasha for sure. And Tu Koi Aur Hai speaks very personally to people, I feel. It kind of, even musically, even if you do not follow the lyrics, it speaks to you about yourself. And it kind of makes you have sympathy for yourself the way you can have sympathy for other people.
Mm.
It makes you empathize yourself, the way the song plays out.
Mm.
It's like the struggle within to be accepted for who you are.
Mm.
It's a very personal song. It just hits that chord, and
Mm.
I think all of us have felt at different stages what you feel when you hear this song.
There's been one instance where I couldn't really stop myself crying, and I was driving my car, and I was somewhere on one of the bridges here. It's called the Westgate Bridge, and I was driving there, and the song was playing, and I just couldn't really tell, and I was profusely weeping. The song was playing, and but I couldn't really tell why. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, one of those indescribable things that happen
yeah.
due to music and AR's music.
And there is one more song, Safarnama. And the reason why I want to touch on this is because it has got one of my most favorite singers, Lucky Ali. I absolutely love him. I'm dying to get him on the podcast, trying everything possible, but I'm going to continue to try. I have to get him. So yes, Safarnama and Lucky Ali, I would like to hear from you, please.
So after the song was made, we decided, and I mean, of course, Rahman sir decided that Lucky Ali should sing this song, and long chats through that night. I remember with Lucky,
Yourself and Lucky?
me and him sitting outside and talking. And in between the recordings, and the recording went through the night.
Right.
And he took time to kind of come to the song, I think, Lucky.
Mm.
And Rahman and Lucky had a very good relationship, very comfortable, very easy. I hadn't met Lucky before, but we had some common connections that he spoke about. And very cool guy.
Mm.
And very warm as well, and very open. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good time chatting. I remember having long chats with him actually through till the morning while we were recording this song. I think we recorded it through the night, like in spurts, and other things were happening.
Right.
Like that.
Wow.
So a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah. And so Of course, I mean, I would love to talk about many other songs as well, but I'm just conscious of the fact that you also have your other commitments. So I'm trying to shorten my questions just so that I can bring you back on podcast 2.0 again in a few months' time.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah,
There's
it
so
would be
much to talk
nice.
about, and
Yes.
but I do have two tiny things to definitely talk to you about. And then this is $1 million question that I've got from a lot of fans. And there's just one question is Imtiaz Bhai, when are you working with ARR sir again? Why haven't you seen you working with him lately? We want you back. Bollywood needs you. These are the exact words that I'm basically telling you on their behalf. So,
Coming up very soon.
is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it will. Now it's going to come up very soon. So that's something that I am very excited about. Hopefully, we've not started working or anything yet, but getting there.
Beautiful. I think you have made my day. I'm I'm super excited now. So and before I let you go, 10 years of Rockstar is coming up on the 11th of November, and it's so
Yes,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, and anything you want to share to the fans who absolutely love what you do
I
for
think
Rockstar.
I think what uh, like some of us have decided to do is that we will just do something for our own sake. You know, there is
Mm.
sometimes you do things because you want to. You know, you do make things so that you could share them. You
Yeah.
know, I know Rockstar is a movie that is in the psyche of people as much today as it was when it released, I think, and that is because there is a group of people that love it much more than I do,
Mm.
honestly,
Mm.
much more than I do. There have been times where I felt that somebody is going to get turned violent towards me when I was criticizing Rockstar in public. So the people really love it, and it's good on them. It is their film more than mine, and I congratulate everybody who loves Rockstar or is in that community of people that like Rockstar. That it has been 10 years, and it's more than the merit of the movie, the love of these fans that has kept it alive. And it's very precious to us also, the movie. And I was thinking that whether we make anything to share or not,
Mm.
uh, we definitely just wanted to be ourselves and just remember that time, you know,
Mm.
have the sanctity of this meeting so that it's for meeting each other and talking about Rockstar ourselves first,
Mm.
and not with the intent of sharing, if you know what I mean.
Understand.
However, all of us are after Rahman sir to actually share something for everybody, including ourselves.
Right.
Something a part of something that all of us can enjoy. But it's maybe I've said too much, and Rahman sir will like.
I have an idea. Maybe that phir se
Hmm.
ud chala track. Sir's version.
Request him, and see, he's going to think that I'm pushing you. Please tell him that I didn't. It was not my idea. Please tell him that, okay? Because it's not my idea. You said so, right? So you just tell him. You request him.
I'll share this
But
clip.
yeah, but so basically he had this idea that let's share something with people that love Rockstar. It's a unique film that is loved so much, you know.
Mm.
So so it was his idea. So let's see what he does about it. But you can go ahead, be my
I will.
guest.
I will. And a message for Sir via this podcast. And I'll share this to him. I'm sure he'll smile.
Let's go to Kashmir again, Rahman sir. It's been a while for me to have eaten that much food in a day. Let's do this.
Yeah. And then you should catch a flight from there to Melbourne. And
Yeah.
for sure. Imtiaz, I absolutely loved speaking to you for the last an hour and a half, so to speak.
Oh, nice.
And I'm sorry I kept you long, but I still have got so many things to cover. But I didn't want you to beat me up later after I've held you up for 2 hours or 3 hours. So I'll save myself from that, but I'll bring you back for podcast 2.0 and we'll definitely catch up. Maybe in the new year, we'll do it in January or something, totally depending on how you're placed. And very, very keen to talk to you again. And so before I let you, I'd like to please take a picture with you, any selfie, and you can stay as you are. And we'll take 2 pictures, Imtiaz. One is a normal wala, and you can just smile looking at the camera. And the second one will be a funny face, so you can do something. So at the count of 3, and let's go with the normal one. 1, 2, and 3. I love this. Nice picture. Super. And now the funny face one. You can do anything. Yes. At the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow, that's a nice picture. Great. Imtiaz, thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
You were so patient and gave me all the time that I wanted. In fact, much more than that I wanted. So I'm going to treasure this for a long time, and definitely shooting this clip over to Sir, and he will smile when he sees it. And so yeah, for sure. And thank you once again. And as a little thank you, I would like to send you 2 t-shirts as a little thank you. This is the way I want to say thanks to you. I'll exclusively design something for you, and and I hope you like it. So I'll coordinate with your manager and I'll get that sorted. So
don't have to bother. It was a pleasure.
No, it's just a little gesture from my end. So every time you see it or wear it, you'll remember this crazy guy in Australia. Loves ARR sir so much. So that's all.